What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my first show of 2018. I'm your host, Blake Ruffino, and we got a good show in store for you. Let's break down LSU versus Notre Dame. Also, LSU has a big game tonight in basketball versus Kentucky. And like I told you guys yesterday, if you saw it on my Facebook page or Twitter or even on Instagram, I'm going to be starting to answer your questions in my new segment called Mailbag. That's right. If you guys want to send me any of your sports-related questions, you can do so on Instagram, Twitter, or on Facebook, and I'll answer them here on the show. But before we get into today's show, like my Facebook page at Are You Serious Sports. That's at Are You Serious Sports. You can follow me on Twitter at AY55PORTS. That's AY55PORTS. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, all lowercase, Are You Serious Sports. That's Are You Serious Sports. You can now catch the entire audio and visual audio on my YouTube channel. Like and subscribe there. Share it with all your friends, and I'll share the link with you, and you can catch that below as well. Look, I told you guys a couple weeks ago that I was going to be doing a lot more in the 2018 year, or coming up into 2018. And if you guys are watching the full video, you can see I got my new headphones. You can see I got the new mic and the backdrop, which I wasn't expecting to have the backdrop just yet, but here it is. I have it, and so we're going to be moving. Like the Jeffersons, we'll be moving on up, moving on forward. So I appreciate you guys and all y'all's kind words. So in 2018, expect a lot more. I'm going to be doing a podcast, starting the podcast, which you can be getting on iTunes, and I'll be doing that within a month or so. So be looking out for that as well. All right, guys, let's start today's show. LSU and Notre Dame. I'm sure you've heard a lot, and you watched the game on New Year's Day. LSU completely dominated that football game from start to finish. They had 21 first downs. They converted 10 of 19 on third downs, 400 total yards, technically 399, 229 yards through the air, although Danny Etling's not that great of a quarterback, quote unquote, as you guys would say, 170 rush yards, and 30 plus minutes of offense. By the way, talking about time of possession, LSU had the ball 15 minutes more than Notre Dame. No turnovers. When you have all those things, 9 times out of 10, more like 9.9 times out of 10, you're going to win any football game you play. So, Blake, how did we lose? Special teams. You guys have been getting on Coach Ed Orgeron the last couple of weeks, and I didn't necessarily know why about signing a kicker. The best kicker that the LSU could have possibly got at that point. Have you changed your mind yet? LSU left 9 points on the board. They could have won the football game. But let's take away the kicker. Let's not even worry about the missed field goals, because LSU and Ed Orgeron has addressed that issue. LSU gave up, in what I counted, 99 total yards on special teams. At some point, Ed Orgeron should have pulled DJ Chark from returning punts. Now, I'm not going to blame DJ Chark on that as much as I blame Ed Orgeron. But don't tell me that LSU shouldn't have a special teams coordinator. LSU has completely fumbled and muffed special teams this year. DJ Chark is a good receiver, and you can see it with 5 catches and 63 yards. But fielding them inside the 5, muffed punts, Ed Orgeron should have pulled him out of that game. At what point do we not come to the realization that the special teams coordinator hire, Greg Nedman or not, is not a big deal? But that falls on Ed Orgeron. He should have pulled Chark way before that. Well, Blake, even if the special teams were that bad, we should have been better on offense. Really? That means that LSU's offense would have had to have had 500 total yards. 500 because of what their special teams did. Darius Geis had 21 carries of 98 yards, 3 catches, 24 yards, and 2 scores. Other than a 30-plus yard rush, Darius Geis was kind of kept in check. He was. Now, a lot of people are saying that Steve Ensminger was calling the plays, and at times it did look like that. But for you guys that said that Steve Ensminger can't call plays, Notre Dame was slowing guys down, and he was getting guys to football in the passing game, in which he scored 2 touchdowns. What do you say about that? Now, Matt Canada, go look at my other shows. I'm not going to beat that dead horse. We'll talk about it if or when he leaves, and we can break that down when he does. But the scheme of the jet sweeps, and a lot of you have been talking on social media that, well, I didn't see a jet sweep. Well, what I can continue to think was, look at the field conditions. And Notre Dame, if you watched the game over again, which I did, and if you watched the film, took it away. Their safeties continuously went out wide, and when you have a month to prepare, you can take that away. It's not as if LSU's offense didn't have a good game plan moving forward. It's not as if the defense didn't have a good game plan moving forward. Blake Orgeron needs to stay out of the offense. Danny Etling threw the ball 33 times. 33 passing attempts, and you're saying that Ed Orgeron's meddling with the offense. That's not what Ed Orgeron historically has wanted to do. He has historically wanted to run the football. Let's really break this down. I don't want to transition off the offense. Going into the fourth quarter, LSU was at the 1 yard line, and Ed Orgeron decided to kick after missing 3. Instead of going for it with Darius Geis, who's potentially going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. You made the field goal, you put your defense back out there, and I hear a lot of you saying that the defense had a fourth quarter meltdown, which they had a last drive meltdown. But here's what I think about that. And everybody has been saying that Ed Orgeron made the wrong call about the last offensive play about kicking it instead of going for it. But let me ask you this. If LSU doesn't get it, I understand that Notre Dame's pinned back, but let's say LSU's defense makes a stop, LSU gets the ball back. Do you trust DJ Chark, who has been horrendous in punt returns in this game? Do you trust to move the football and kick a field goal well, you wouldn't necessarily need the field goal there, but well, you would, but what would you do there? You can't field punts. You can't field kicks. You got to get the points. It's the right football move. It was the right football move. And Ed Orgeron put it on his defense to make that play. Now, before I talk about the defense, like I mentioned before, you can follow me on Facebook at RU Serious Sports. That's at RU Serious Sports. You can follow me on Twitter at AY55PORTS. That's AY55PORTS. Or on Instagram as well, all lowercase RU Serious Sports. Look, all in all, the defense played well. I think Aranda had a really good game plan against Notre Dame, which I know that there are some stories coming out about Dave Aranda, but how loyal has that guy been? Wait a second. Who was the only guy in sports talk that told you that A&M, not necessarily A&M, but people were going to be coming after Dave Aranda because of the cancer that Matt Canada has been? Oh, that's right. It was me. A&M is constantly coming after Dave Aranda. Constantly. Dave Aranda's being loyal. But in reference to the game, like I mentioned earlier, the game is never won on one play. You had the best offensive line in college football. I'm not making that up. The NCAA, they got awarded the trophy for being the best offensive line in the NCAA. By the way, you're absent Donnie Alexander. By the way, you're absent Arden Key. Oh, also, Corey Thompson, who's your 6-year senior, is not going to be there. And you gave up 17 points when your offense and special teams didn't give you much. And you'll put it on that last drive. You guys need to really understand how elite Dave Aranda is as a play caller and how elite that defense was just this year. Jacoby Stevens got some playing time. I don't necessarily know, and the only thing that I would say that maybe Dave Aranda didn't game plan for was Ian Cook, the quarterback for Notre Dame that came in, or Ian Book, excuse me. Ian Book that came in. He was a pocket passer that showed that he is pretty mobile. And he threw the ball really well. And you only gave up 14 points to him? He's probably going to be Notre Dame's starting quarterback next year. So for you guys, and the reason that I break it down like that is because I'm tired of you guys talking about how bad the defense played in the fourth quarter meltdown. No, they had a fourth quarter drive meltdown because they were on the field and they played a really tough game. Also, Dante Jackson got pushed off and it was a horrible call, or a horrible no call. Look, you guys have to understand that this was a very young defense, and Dave Aranda had a really good scheme with having some of his best players out. All right, guys, as I told you, big game tonight with LSU versus Kentucky in Baton Rouge at the PMAC. 9-3 LSU versus 11-2 Kentucky. Let me say this. I love Will Wade. When we're talking about basketball, he's by far my new favorite coach of all time. This dude, he's so energetic. He's a younger guy. He just brings so much to the table. Here's a stat that I really want you to, or really stood out to me. Will Wade is 40-8 when he has 4 days to prepare for any team. 40-8. This is going to be a big-time game in the SEC opener for LSU. Now, the bad thing about LSU this season has been that they have not taken success well. If you remember, LSU beat Houston earlier in the year and then lost to Stephen F. Austin. LSU is coming off a really good win against Memphis in Memphis, and I kind of want to take a step back and sit here and say, well, I hope that Will Wade can have his guys ready to go and have his guys ready to play. Now, Kentucky may be, in my analysis and my breakdown, is probably the best transition team in NCAA. They like to run. They are a great transition team, not just on offense, but on defense. And I think Will Wade broke that down today of how good they are in transition. But look, they got a couple guard. They have a guard and a forward. Diallo, he's scoring 15 points per game with 5 rebounds. That's a lot of rebounds for a guard, okay? And forward Kevin Cox, who's scoring 14.5 yards per game and then 5.6 rebounds per game. But look, these guys, and this is why I think LSU can win against Kentucky tonight. Kentucky played against Georgia on New Year's Eve, and Diallo and Knox had some really struggled. Now, Kentucky wound up winning 66-61. That's the sign of Calipari and how he recruits and how he's got a good team around. Diallo struggled, and he only went 3 from 8 from the floor and didn't have a lot of points. Now, Diallo can hit the 3. He went 4 from 7 behind the 3-point mark against Virginia Tech. And Knox as well didn't have a good game, and it's been on a little bit of a cold streak against UGA. I believe that he's only shooting 43% this season. So I say all this to say that LSU has a really good chance in the preparation with Will Wade to pull an upset tonight. Now, in one of my first ever videos, I told you guys about atmosphere. I hope LSU, everybody goes out to the PMAC tonight and makes that place rock, because last year you didn't stand a chance against Kentucky. This year, Will Wade, you have a really good chance of beating this team. I think LSU can really come close tonight. They're going to have to play their best game of the season. And if I had to predict, I would say LSU is going to have to keep it close and keep it low scoring. I would say LSU 65, Kentucky 60. But that's a big that's a lot to put on LSU. It's going to be a good game, so catch it tonight at 7:30. I think that the Tigers will be prepared and ready to go. But until LSU in basketball can beat an elite team such as Kentucky, I'm just going to take a step back. But I think Will Wade's got the philosophy and the demeanor to beat a good team. All right, guys, I told you that I was going to be answering some of your questions, and I am. This is going to be our new segment called Mailbag. Mailbag. All right, Alex Hellman sent in, what is Coach O's LSU football identity? Will Coach O be able to show player development on special teams and on offense in 2018? Well, Alex, that's a really good question, and I think that the identity of Coach O is going to be an elite team up front, and you see that in recruiting. He got a lot of guys on the offensive side of the ball up front, and he got a lot of guys on the defensive side up front. He got some really good linebackers, a couple from up north and one from Baton Rouge, and Damon Clark. I think that the identity is going to be a tough, really gritty, physical football team up front that can control the line of scrimmage. Okay, in reference to player development, I feel like we've already seen that, right? If you look at Danny Etling, now, listen to me, and you guys at LSU are going to really rag me about this, but just hear me out here. In 2016 to this season, now that the season's over, look at Danny Etling and the progression that he has made from 2016 to the end of 2017. The stats don't lie. So Ed Orgeron may be not physically molding and making Danny Etling better, but his schemes and his philosophy does. You can see on the defensive line how Ed Alexander, a Hammond boy, I love me some Big Ed, because I knew Ed and I worked out with him at CrossFit a couple times. You see the development, and he had a huge game against Notre Dame just a couple days ago. So I think that the player development is not going to be a problem at all. I think that LSU as a whole is going to be fine. I just think that the fans need to kind of relax when it comes to LSU. All right. I had another one. Seth Greenman sent in, what do you think about Matt Canada? And do you think he goes, or does he stay? I think Canada's gone. I think Canada, like I've said multiple times, has been a cancer. Everywhere he's gone, I don't think Canada called the plays against A&M or Notre Dame. And Steve Ensminger looked pretty good against A&M, didn't he? All right. Last question on the mailbag is someone who wanted to stay anonymous. Blake, why have you not been talking more about Southeastern? What is their recruiting looking like? Look, I know that Southeastern signed 9 guys. I think only 2 of them were local people. The reason that I'm not talking Southeastern, and it's really simple, it's because that every time I talk Southeastern, I get ragged on by their staff and their administration. Good, bad, or indifferent. They get on to me. So that's the only reason I don't talk about them. I want to talk about my alma mater, and I want to talk about Southeastern, but I'm not going to talk about somebody when I constantly say something good about them, and I get messages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So, all right, guys, this is today's show. Tomorrow, I am going to be breaking down the Saints versus Carolina round 1, take 3, as I should say, and we'll break it down piece by piece, and just catch us tomorrow for the show. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.